Okay, good morning, everybody. I'd like to call the Millcreek Township General Authority meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, this is a very exciting day. It's awesome to see so many people, so many happy faces, so many people that have been involved in this process and this journey along the way. The purpose of this meeting is for the presentation and consideration of a preliminary development agreement for Millcreek Township West 8th Street redevelopment project. So again, we're happy and excited to be here. We'll start off with agenda item number 4. Any public comment on any of the agenda items? Okay, if not, we'll move on to the presentation of the preliminary developer agreement. I think I'm going to turn that over to Executive Director Matt Waldinger, and he and with Chuck from Altair are going to, Chuck Peters are going to take it from here. Guys.
Yes, thank you very much. Good morning. For the benefit of the public and the people gathered here today, please allow me to give a brief synopsis of what brought us to this point. Going back for a decade now to the beginning of the efforts to develop an updated comprehensive plan, it was quickly apparent from public meetings and surveys that the residents and business owners of Millcreek greatly valued Presque Isle State Park and took great pride in hosting the gateway into a beloved and highly visited natural wonder. They also recognized the opportunity that such a position could provide and expressed concern that the then current conditions made a less than ideal first impression. This feedback led directly to what we now call the Presque Isle Gateway District, becoming one of the 5 focus areas of the township's comprehensive plan, which we named Embrace Millcreek. Embrace Millcreek was adopted in 2018, and among other recommendations for the Gateway District, it made clear that this section of the township should be the subject of a more focused planning effort. In late 2020, work began on the Presque Isle Gateway District plan, intensively researching the area outside of the state park and soliciting public suggestions and feedback focused there. Through that process, several properties near the corner of West 8th and Peninsula Drive were called out for the negative impact that they were having on the users of Presque Isle State Park. There were buildings that were vacant or showed obvious signs of disinvestment. There was a large hotel that was in receivership and had been permanently closed. The plan recommended that the township target this area for strategic improvement to bring these properties back into productive use and to anchor improvements along the West 8th Street corridor. In 2022, the Board of Supervisors, with great foresight, created the Millcreek Township General Authority and set the implementation of this recommendation as their initial task. In early 2023, a strategic investment was made to acquire 5 properties at that corner. Through strong partnerships and incredible support from our local legislative delegation, Millcreek has been able to secure millions of dollars of funding for the project. This includes a $3.5 million redevelopment assistance capital program grant from the Commonwealth, over $5 million from PennDOT for roadway improvements along West 8th Street, and a $1 million grant from the Erie County Land Bank to prepare the sites for development. Today is the day that the arduous work of preparation begins to bear fruit. I'm now going to turn it over to Chuck Peters, who represents our consultant, Altair Real Estate Services, to talk about the search for a developer for these properties.
Thank you, Matt, and thank you to the authority. As a reminder to the authority and to share with the public, I wanted to take a few minutes and address how we got where we're at. So first, the authority engaged us a number of years ago to evaluate what process might yield a result related to soliciting a developer. We settled on a 2-step process that started first with a request for qualifications. And the reason we do that in many communities when we're working in them is that it allows the authority and or the municipality to understand a developer's general approach without putting the developer through the process of having to, process and expense of having to fully develop a proposal for a site. We had feedback on the RFQ process and interviewed the firms that applied, and then moved on to a request for proposal stage. The RFQ was issued in April of '25, and then responses were due on May 15th. The RFP went out on August 22nd. In-person interviews occurred with the authority, and of course the developers visited the sites and spoke with professionals related to the development. And ultimately, upon the evaluation of the developers being completed by the authority and their diligence being done on the initial site work, we've gotten to this point where negotiation related to a transaction has occurred. So with that, I'll turn it over to the authority solicitor, Attorney Shaw.
Thank you, Chuck. Good morning, members of the authority. Before you for a vote today is a pre-development agreement between the authority and Millcreek Momentum. Let me give you an overview of the terms of that agreement. The purpose of the pre-development agreement is to enable the parties to assemble and evaluate the information needed to proceed to a formal development agreement. The pre-development agreement will give the developers time to perform due diligence on the condition of the property, and will give the authority and the developer time to seek public input, refine the development concept, ensure there are no regulatory and financial roadblocks, and ultimately negotiate and execute a development agreement. The pre-development agreement describes the vision for the property, which involves the construction of a mixed-use development together with any public amenities, any off-site public improvements that may be required, and any on-site public improvements that may be required. Public amenities could include green space and pedestrian and bicycle facilities, while public improvements could include things such as stormwater, sidewalks, and lighting. 5 days after the execution of this agreement, the developer will submit a $100,000 deposit to be held by the authority. $25,000 of that deposit becomes non-refundable upon the developer satisfactorily completing its property investigation. Another $25,000 becomes non-refundable 1 year after the execution of the agreement, while the parties continue to explore the design, evaluate the regulatory and financial requirements, investigate the title to the property, and work on the development agreement. Under the pre-development agreement, the developer has 60 days after the execution of this agreement to complete its property inspections to ensure that there are no conditions on the property that would prevent its development. If this 60-day investigation is satisfactory to the developer, we would then move to the second stage, and that second stage is to be completed within 18 months. During the second stage, the parties will focus on the design for the development and any public amenities and improvements, the purchase price, securing financing, and evaluating the economic and regulatory feasibility of the development and the design. The agreement specifies that each party has certain obligations during this 18-month period. During the 18-month second stage, the developer is responsible to prepare preliminary site plans within 6 months, conduct feasibility studies, complete a title investigation, develop a schedule, develop and submit financial pro forma, secure financial commitments, seek commercial tenants, and explore public funding opportunities and participate in a public input process. During that 18-month second stage, the authority is responsible for consolidating the properties as necessary for the project, timely reviewing developer submissions, engaging the public to solicit feedback regarding public amenities, assist the developer with regulatory matters, and investigate potential sources of public funding, and provide the developer with all due diligence materials it possesses. Once the work on the second phase is completed, the parties will proceed to execute a development agreement if there are no issues with the title, there are no regulations preventing development, the program, concept plans, and drawings are acceptable to both parties, neither party has materially breached the agreement, all permits and approvals have been issued and are no longer appealable, and that the developer determines the project is feasible. The goal of this pre-development agreement is to execute a development agreement that will guide the physical development of the site. Parties will negotiate the development agreement in good faith, and any development agreement will include a purchase price based on its appraised value, plus an amount determined by an investment formula agreed upon by the authority and the developer. Any easements needed for public improvements, any infrastructure and construction requirements reasonably established by the township, when the construction will occur, and also include the continued public process regarding public amenities. Lastly, under the agreement, the authority agrees to exclusively deal with the developer on this property while the agreement is in place.
Thank you. Thank you, Chuck, Mark, and Matt. We've all had a chance to review the pre-development agreement. Does anybody on the board have any questions for any of our presenters?
All of my questions have been answered.
Everything's been answered? Okay. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve the pre-development plan?
I will make a motion to approve the pre-development plan.
So moved by Ms. Clear. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Seconded. Thank you. Seconded by Ms. Mitchell. Any further questions? Okay. Before we vote, I just wanted to especially thank, besides our solicitor, Mark Shaw, who has done yeoman's work for many, many issues, Chuck Peters from Altair. Chuck has been through a lot of ups and downs in this project, and he kind of persevered, and we appreciate it. I think we have a really exciting opportunity here, and we're all, beyond excited about it. But I wanted to especially personally thank Chuck, because it's not been an easy process at times for Chuck, so thank you. Okay, again, we have a motion on the floor. It's been properly moved and seconded, and we'll go to a vote. Ms. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Wardy?
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so the pre-development plan has been approved. Thank you very much. Okay. It seems kind of simple and anticlimactic, but let me tell you, it took a lot to get to this point, believe me. By a lot of people in this room, there's a few scars and things like that, but we're not gonna, they've all healed, and it's only gonna be positive, I think, moving forward, so. Okay, next item on the agenda is for citizens to be heard. I do wanna just set a little ground rule here. It's a 3-minute limit. We have a big room. It is not a question and answer period. Feel free to come up here, state your name, and 3 minutes of comments, okay? So with that, do we have any citizens? I know we have one for sure that would like to speak, but do we have any citizens that would like to be heard? I don't know if we have a listing or... No one? You're not shy, Dennis. I think you'll do fine. Anybody like to speak? Going once, twice? Okay, well, thank you. Excellent. All right. Without any public comments?
Excuse me,
Ms.
Mr.
Clary,
Chairman?
Yes.
I would also like to recognize Dan Olet is in the audience, a former member of the authority and former supervisor. So I just would like to give a big thanks to Dan Olet for all of the hard work that he has put into this, especially since my time over the last 4 years. So thank you, Dan.
Yep. Thank you very much
Thank you.
for pointing
Thanks,
that out.
Dan.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, moved by Mr. Wardy
Second it.
and second by Ms. Mitchell. We'll go ahead and vote. Ms. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Wardy?
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Meeting is adjourned. We are going to have just a point of reference, we are going to have a press conference, I think, at 11:45 in the lobby if anyone would like to stay in.
We can do the press conference right now. Okay.
Okay, guess we're going to do it right now.
And
Thank you. Good morning again, everybody. Thank you all for being here. I truly appreciate it. It's really a celebratory day. Very excited about it. My name, again, is Dave Zimmer. I serve as the chair of the Millcreek Township General Authority. I'd like to introduce my fellow board members here with me today. First of all, we have, in the middle here, we have Vice Chair Cheryl Mitchell. Cheryl has been excellent in providing great insights throughout this process. To my left over here, we have Laith Wardy. Laith has done a fantastic job and really brought a lot of enthusiasm to this project. And finally, the next person doesn't need any introduction. I always tell her we're always waiting for her because she's so gregarious. But Kim Clare, one of our Millcreek Township supervisors. So thank you very much. Okay, if you don't know, the authority just voted to approve a pre-development agreement with Millcreek Momentum LLC for the Gateway District project at West 8th Street and Peninsula Drive. I just want to take a few minutes to explain exactly what that means before we introduce the Millcreek Momentum team. This project has been guided by years of planning, beginning with the 2018 Embrace Millcreek Comprehensive Plan and the subsequent Presque Isle Gateway District Plan. Those plans were shaped by community input and reflect a long-standing desire to thoughtfully improve that corridor, one of the most meaningful and iconic intersections in our township. Many of us have very fond personal memories tied to this area. I think we all can remember what was on the corner of 8th and Peninsula Street at the entrance of Presque Isle. It's really how that location is how people experience Millcreek. Driving up Peninsula in the memory of almost every resident's life, I always remember, that specific corner. That's one of the reasons we've taken deliberate and thoughtful approach to developing this parcel. So what's next? Well, today's vote does not authorize construction. It authorizes the beginning of a pre-development phase. That phase allows the developer and the authority to conduct proper due diligence, refine design concepts, evaluate infrastructure needs, review financial feasibility, and continue, which is very important, continue public engagement. Public engagement does not stop at this point. It just continues in a different phase. Following a very competitive RFQ and RFP process, the authority thoughtfully selected Millcreek Momentum as a developer partner, and we're thrilled that they're all here today. They're qualified and they're ready to invest in Millcreek Township. Millcreek Momentum, to explain a little bit who they are, they're a joint venture between JMF Properties, Mark Schwiker as senior advisor and partner, and Gladstone Equities. The firms bring experience in mixed-use residential and commercial projects, as well as the financial capacity, which is very important, obviously, to undertake a project of this scale. We need a developer with a skill and sound financial footing to move a mission like ours forward, and we think we found one. Throughout the process, the board's responsibility has been to evaluate qualifications and proposals carefully, measure them against best practices and our adopted plans, and ensure responsibility to Millcreek Township taxpayers. We believe this partnership allows us to move forward in a structured way that yields a major victory for our region. Over the coming months, the focus will be on planning, design, refinement, and feasibility analysis. Community input, again, I keep saying that, but community input will continue to play an important role because ultimately this is about getting it right for Millcreek, getting Millcreek the gateway we all deserve. With that, I'd like to introduce the members of the Millcreek Momentum development team. First, I would like to introduce Josh Califer. First, I guess I would like to tell you that the partners are Josh Califer, Joe Forgione, and Governor Mark Schwiker. First, I would like to introduce Josh Califer of Gladstone Equities and a partner in Millcreek Momentum. Josh brings significant experience in real estate investment and mixed-use development. He's got a great pedigree for investing in mid-sized communities, and he gets what makes us tick. I think about our interview with Josh and the whole team, but Josh was especially engaged, understood this community, not unlike the community that he lives in New Jersey, and it just seemed to be a perfect fit. But Gladstone Equities is a real estate investment and development firm with more than 40 years of experience in commercial, retail, and mixed-use projects. Including among those projects is TD Bank Ballpark in Somerset County, New Jersey, the home of the Somerset Patriots baseball team, who are a AA affiliate of the New York Yankees. Now, they're not the Cleveland Guardians or the Pittsburgh Pirates, but the Yankees, I guess they have fairly.
We won't bring that up.
Fairly relevant history. I don't know. Yeah. So again, we appreciate Josh and Millcreek Momentum Partners being here today to share his perspective on the project and what lies ahead. Josh, I'd like you to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you. Dave, thank you. It's fun that you brought up the Somerset Patriots towards the end of your remarks because long before I really was fortunate enough to spend time here in Millcreek, and I do consider it a great fortune that I get to be here with you today, I was very familiar with Millcreek, of course, largely through just across the border in Erie, your Seawolves, which I have to say are one heck of a tough team to beat. We have to tip our hats to you because I don't know if any of you here follow the Seawolves as closely as I do, but you're really good. So I look forward to a great season. I believe we play here in September, so you'll see me a lot before then, but you might see me bopping around the ballpark. So thank you. But I really wanted to say a few things about not only the project and why it's so important to us as we know how important it is to you, but I really wanted to talk for a brief moment about the Millcreek Township General Authority and the people standing here next to me. Your vision, your idea, your passion, and your drive to make your community better is really the lead, as well as obviously Governor Schwiker's enthusiasm for it, the lead reason that I personally want to be here, and I know the governor and Joe want to be here as well. What you have done here, and I do know how long it's been, what you've done here for the better part of a decade, what you have gone through, the commitments you have made of your time, your capital, your efforts, and your dreams are clear. And they are clearly for one reason. They are to make your community better. They are to make the life of your citizens better. So I just want to commend you on that. But I also want to make it clear that that is why we're here. The other reason we're here is because of the obvious uniqueness of this incredible opportunity. We understand the importance of the gateway to this community. We understand the value of Presque Isle. We understand the literally once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to have an impact together, the community, our group, your leadership, and all of you, to make that a better place and to create together the gateway that this community and Presque Isle deserve. So that's really why we're here. That's really what makes this so exciting to us. And we just want to say, before I turn it back over to Dave, that it's not lost on us that at this point, you have placed your confidence and your trust and your willingness to go forward in us and with us. And I just want to say, on behalf of our group, thank you. We don't take it lightly. We understand it. It will drive every aspect of this project for us. And we want to make you proud and happy. And we want to try to make the gateway what it should be for this community. So thank you. Dave?
Okay, next I'm pleased to introduce Joe Forgione, founder and principal at JMF Properties and one of the partners in Millcreek Momentum. Joe really brings decades of experience in mixed-use development, and we're honored to have him today to speak about his role and really what excites him about this opportunity in Millcreek Township. Joe, thanks.
Good morning. Good morning. Josh stole my thunder, so there's not much to say other than thank you very much for affording us the opportunity to work with you. Walked into the door, and the first person that greeted me said, "We are going to work hard for you." Well, as a developer who's developing throughout the country with offices in Dallas, we're not often greeted by a municipal official saying, "We're going to work hard for you." We're not accustomed to that. We're accustomed to a room full of people. I think once we've gotten tomatoes thrown at us for building a shopping center. But look, today is the first step of starting a lot of due diligence and to making sure that the plan we placed in front of you works in keeping with your vision. The plan is fluid. We are going to be reaching out for national tenants and retailers and really understanding the market, the for sale, the for rent, and again, working with the municipality. We thank you very, very much. This is quite an experience for us. Thank you.
Finally, and really last but not least, I'm very, very pleased. I've never done this before, introduced a governor, but I'll do it today. Mark Schwiker is really a long-time friend to Erie. As governor of Pennsylvania and a former township supervisor himself, Mark has, excuse me, the unique understanding of how meaningful a project like this is. And he made that very, very clear from the beginning of our conversations to our community and especially to our economy. Millcreek Momentum is anchored by Mark, who offers a unique background in municipal government and innovative real estate development for townships, including residential, commercial, and combined mixed use. We're so happy to have you back in Millcreek. I know he always says he has a soft spot in his heart for our area, and you'll hear that and see that as he comes up here, but working to help define our area and our next chapter. So, Governor.
Thank you. And a big hand for the authority members as well. Thank you. As Dave mentioned, folks are happy to mention my background and my privilege of serving you earlier as governor and lieutenant governor. I'm also a county commissioner. In fact, my wife often will turn to me, as Josh has heard, and say, I'm the former everything. So in terms of public service, but I did cut my teeth, so to speak, as a township supervisor. In fact, we had a neat little conversation before we kind of assembled for this moment, and I said, I'm very comfortable in a municipal building. I was a township supervisor, not a cut and run guy. I did 8 years, elected and reelected, and so as you might surmise, I am comfortable in this kind of atmosphere. I am comfortable being face to face with neighbors and leading citizens and caring citizens who want to see Millcreek grow and create a sense of optimism for their residents and neighbors and kids. So in that regard, I know the expectation. I'm very comfortable with that. I wouldn't be here with Joe and Josh if we didn't believe that that's an important dynamic as you try to grow a community and offer that sense of economic reward and safety and civic spirit. I have to say, and I've mentioned this to Dave, and I can feel with the authority board members as well, the notion of that they have taken, they enjoy a sense of civic inspiration because of your participation and your willingness to offer comments in public meetings and ideas and what can happen there at 8th and Peninsula. Having lived the life as a local official, I understand that dynamic. It still motivates me. And in fact, in my mind, I'm an older guy now compared to a 26-year-old township supervisor at the time, is that this is, that was a foundational time for me as far as being comfortable with citizen input and residents voicing themselves in agreement or perhaps with cynicism, whatever it might be. And of course, as both Josh and Joe were comfortable and sure to emphasize, with transparency and being available to Millcreek citizenry. So delighted to see you and know that you're motivated by those ends and that participation as well. I will tell you this, some years back, probably 2 years ago, Kathy and I were up here, my wife, and we were visiting, some of the folk, I think we all know Michelle and Tom Ridge in the name, good friends to this day. And I said, Kath, I'll be right back. I want to take a ride. It wasn't the kind of thing that she was going to take in herself. I stood at the northwestern corner of 8th and Peninsula. And eventually I made it to the other 3 corners as well, because based on what I was hearing about your vision and your gumption, your preference, the idea that Millcreek can be stronger and perhaps remedy some of that tired-looking real estate that was there, I wanted to kind of see it for myself, view it for myself, and not just, what we say in the business, traffic counts. More than that, I wanted to see the people in the vehicles. I wanted to stand at that corner and understand what it is that's so magical about Presque Isle and Waldemere and some of the folks who literally were in their cars. And I could tell you that I looked closely. I think there were some tired parents and some tired kids coming through that intersection. But my point is this, it helps me understand the unique history And this confluence of operations like the water park and Presque Isle, I mean, with 4 million visitors a year, and of course, the gateway dynamic along 8th Street as you make your way east, Mr. Representative, into Erie. And it occurred to me that this is a special place. You know, in the world of redevelopment and civic improvement, these, in a dynamic way, are inputs that really guarantee your attractiveness, that really guarantee the magnetism of what we are going to propose relative to this walkable, mixed-use, nearby, attractive destination for residents who are already there and for the mixed-use residential elements that we want to propose along with the storefront commercial. It's almost it's a magical, so to speak, can't miss mix of what you require to grow and redevelop a particular stretch, in this case, about 7 or 8 acres over there at 8th and Peninsula. But having said that, friends, I did look closely. I was at every corner. And I think you and I know that some of those cars ain't turning left. They're heading to the interstate. Makes sense if you got tired children, and we had 3, we know what it's like. But what we see, what draws us in, is the idea that we want them to turn left, and we want them to park, and we want them to shop, and we want them to walk along, and want them to show their kids that this is Millcreek's town center. This is Millcreek's downtown, so to speak. And this is not shot in the dark stuff. When you throw in the east and Erie City and those bus lines that come through, the interstates that send traffic into this particular locale, and then what comes out of Presque Isle most months. I mean, think about it. I mean, I think I know a little bit about state parks. There are very few places that can rival Yellowstone as far as over 4 million visitors. So friends, I think harnessed properly, harnessed constructively, with, I think, contemporary architecture and civic design and your goodwill and the leadership of these folks and the township supervisors, we are absolutely delighted to be chosen. I mean, we had to compete for this, and we knew that. I mean, that comes in, you know, with the public square, so to speak. But we are ready to go. In my mind, this, you know, given my foundation, I just don't mean work in Harrisburg. I'm talking about township supervisor work. We want to honor this vision. We are motivated in a very studious, careful way over the next 20 months to come back with a design and an idea, more than an idea, with blueprints and a timeline and plenty of capital to get this done. In my mind, it is just a special moment where we say to the folks who are behind me and the township supervisors, thank you for that vision. As Josh mentioned, I mean, the perseverance. It ain't easy to stay with something for 8 years. Am I right? Let alone 8 weeks or 8 days. I mean, 8 years. And so we go into this endeavor as a motivated partner. And I'll finish with this, friends. I think our special sauce, so to speak, is more than just the 25-year accomplishment run of a Joe Forgione. I mean, I think between the 3 of us, I did a calculation. I think we've got probably close to 90 years of redevelopment and civic commitment in them their bones, as they say. But it is this, and it is what we want to underscore. We see ourselves as allies in a civic and economic and human sense. And back to that 8th and Peninsula moment, it was clear to me with the right, I think, positioning of this town center, the right mix of residential and commercial, we're going to accomplish a great outcome. And ideally, the kind of picture and activity of shoppers and new residents and existing residents who are already there to be quite prideful about what Millcreek Township has spawned by virtue of the gateway concept. So, Mr. Chairman, thank you for your confidence.
Now, if that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will. So thank you very much to Governor Schwiker, Joe Forgione, and Josh Califer for being here today and their willingness to speak about what's ahead. For us, selecting a development partner was one of the most important responsibilities before this board. We received strong proposals, and we appreciate the professionalism effort of every one of those that participate in the process. Today's vote allows us to move into the next phase and build momentum towards design and ultimately construction. Again, in the months ahead, the focus will be on refining plans and preparing the project for its next stage. There's still work to be done before any construction begins, but as we move forward, we will continue to provide updates and opportunities again for public engagement. Good development takes time and a lot of patience, and our commitment is to approach the project thoughtfully and responsibly. Before we depart, I also want to take a minute to recognize some of our partners. No project like this can be done just by our township or just by this general authority. We need partners. And to my right, I probably should have introduced him earlier, but we have State Representative and Senior Leader, Mr. Ryan Bizzarro here. And he specifically has been a great proponent of this district, of this plan, and we're looking forward to working with him in the future. Then to my left, I have Kim Thomas, Executive Director of Infinite Erie. Everybody, I think, knows Kim at every project. Her smiling face is here, and she has partnered with us as well, and we're looking to continue to work with her as we move forward. But thank you for being here, and thank you for help sponsoring this. And last but not least, he said he doesn't want any accolades, but his eyes are closed. Our Executive Director, Matt Waldinger. Matt, his calmness, his presence, his willingness to work hard, he's just been a beacon of light in this whole project. So I want to specifically recognize Matthew for everything that he's done and everything he'll do in the future. So Matt, thank you. That's about it. This is kind of a wrap. This concludes today's announcement, and members of the development team will be available for individual interviews. So thank you again for being here, and thanks for everything. Have a great day. Thank you.